Hi, my name's Forum Concept. I'm 26 from Brighton. I predominantly produce drum and bass music, and I'm signed to a record label called Critical Music. Yeah, straight away, the thing that hooked me on drum and bass, as I said, was just the raw energy of it. Straight away, it's just you wanted to move, you wanted to dance. Yeah, I grew up listening to all sorts of music. My dad's side of the family, a lot of them are musicians, playing bands, singers, guitarists. I had an exposure to a lot of different sounds. When I was at secondary school, I was really into hip hop. When I was like 13, 14, I was listening to a lot of Wu-Tang Clan and Dr. Dre. And it was when I was about 14, 15, a mate of mine, Adam, gave me a drum and bass tape back. I think it was Andy C maybe, or Fabio Grooverider, and I was hooked. Yeah, I really liked it. I loved the raw energy of it. It was when I was about 18, I think, I started listening to a lot of sort of Marcus Intellects and early Solar stuff. And that's when I sort of really took it seriously from a musical perspective. Yeah, it's always something I fancied, being involved in music on some level. I used to play a couple of instruments when I was a kid. I used to tinkle the ivories a bit. And then later on, when I got into electronic music like drum and bass, I started buying records, started DJing, sort of really got into that. But it was really when I first went to my first club night, which was at Fabric. I was about 17. And it was kind of then, once you're in there and you're hearing it on the system, and the vibe in there, I just knew that I wanted to be involved in dance music or drum and bass in some capacity. In hip hop, RZA and Pete Rock, two of my favourite producers. Always loved their beats. Roy Davis Jr. Always been a big fan of him. He's inspired me. Also, sort of trip hop stuff, the British trip hop stuff like Massive Attack and Portishead.
Yo, this isn't a playground, so don't bring your games round. We ain't playing tag, my man. I'm coming with the takedowns.
Yeah, the EP. There wasn't really much thought process went into it. I have to be honest. I kind of thought going into it, well, I want all 4 tracks to be different because I hear a lot of these guys' EPs. I'm not saying in particular, they're all great quality stuff, but they can be quite sort of in a box and are quite similar to each other. I wanted to make them as different as possible, but also different from what I've made before, not like just newer sounding versions or better sounding versions of what I've made before. Other than that, yeah, it was quite free writing it. It all came together fairly quickly. Don't know, about a couple of months really. I wrote the tracks about 4 weeks, about 2 months to finish them. Working with Stray was really good. He's one of my favourite producers anyway. I think we're kind of on the same page really about making music, in the respect that it's more about vibes, just trying to get a vibe, than a sort of like overly militantly produced tunes. Yeah, in an ideal world, if I could produce a collab track with another producer, it would probably be DJ Premier. I think we'd go for something like Paper Chaser, which I just did on my last EP, kind of like hip hop, drum and bass, crossover, hybrid thing. But this time with his samples, because I know he's sitting on some gems in his sample collection from hearing his tracks. And I think we could get a nice little vibe going, to be honest. So Premier, if you're listening, call me. I use Logic 9 by Apple, with a variety of sort of plugins, third-party plugins, Wave stuff, and Native Instruments, and Camel Fat, and a few other bits and bobs. I've got a Virus TI Snow. Used to have a Polar. A little tip for you: if you're going to get a Virus, I bought the Polar, and then I realised it's exactly the same as a Snow, except it's got a full-on keyboard, and you pay $1,000 more. So unless you want to play it live, get a Snow. I use that for sort of the more heavier sounding basses and leads and things like that. I did go for a sort of stage of getting into hardware, but to be honest, I found it really slowed me down. I find that I work best when I'm at full speed, and I'm sort of throwing ideas down and rearranging things. I spend a sort of fair bit of time sampling, trying to find those little killer samples that are really going to open up a track or bring it to life. So I'd say probably my sample library is more important than any synth or effect unit or whatever that I own. So yeah, I mean, I guess looking for killer samples. Well, I don't know about killer, but looking for samples. Critical nights at Fabric, always amazing. I haven't been to a bad one. I have to be honest, I can't remember too much about the launch party. Quite a lot of people buying me drinks that night, but from what I do remember, it was very busy. I got to play with GQ, MC GQ, which is a bit of a personal highlight because he's been around for so long. He's a great guy as well. Yeah, it's great to play down there. The crowd always really receptive to new tunes and sort of different stuff as well. You don't have to play sort of straight up bangers. So you can really get away with like a mixed bag DJ wise. But yeah, I had a really good time. I don't know if anyone watching this was there, but yeah, I really enjoyed it. Yeah, I really like Fabric. I love Fabric. It was my first ever club as a raver, so I've got enough soft spot for it. You really get looked after there when you play there. The crowd is amazing, very receptive. So yeah, I picked Fabric. I've also got a place in my heart for Volks in Brighton. It's pretty dingy, it's very loud, perfect for drum and bass, and it's right by my house, so I can crawl home if necessary. Yeah, well, I recently started using USB sticks. I think once you go digital, it doesn't really matter too much what format you use. I use this software called Rekordbox, which is made by Pioneer, so it sort of integrates with all the CDJs that they usually have in clubs. Organise things into playlists. I've got things like new tracks or unreleased tracks, bangers, classics, that sort of thing. When I go to a DJ, when I go to a club, I've generally got a rough idea of what I'm going to play, what types of tracks or particular tracks that I want to play. But other than that, it's pretty much off the cuff, to be honest. I've played a few places where I thought the harder tracks were going to go down really well, and the crowd just seemed to want to hear the more experimental stuff, and vice versa as well. So I think if you go in there and you've got a plan set for 60 minutes, you're kind of open for the dreaded walkout, really. So you've got to be open-minded. Yeah, there were definitely a few other tempo tracks in the pipeline. I also enjoy making music, to be honest. Drum and bass is something I find I'm very comfortable making it, and I really enjoy making it, but I definitely want to experiment with some other stuff. Bickerings with Tom Decker, he's a very good friend of mine. We used to live together, in fact that's when we made the track. And he sort of brought a different approach, different skill set to the table. So I'm definitely making some stuff with him, probably on a similar tip. I've also kind of been making a few things around like 128 BPM, 130, but trying to work out what to do with that really. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see.
I've been trying so hard to make you see.
Yeah, dream location for a DJ set would probably be Chapman's Peak in Cape Town. Went there, I don't know, about 6 years ago. It's probably the most beautiful place I've seen. Don't know what it'd be like to DJ there or have a party there, but scenery wise, amazing.
Is when you realize
Yeah, I think the advancement of technology in the last 10-15 years, especially the internet, helped me massively as a producer starting out. You can share tracks, obviously that's one way of looking at it, but also I found talking to people, like-minded people, other producers, you can share advice and tips, you can learn things from production forums or tutorials. Yes, it's a great plus point for producers. Obviously there's a lot of readily available software to make music now online, which is good, but on the flip side it does have its bad points. I mean, there's a lot of crap music out there, which you do have to kind of sift through to find the gems. But I think it's a small sacrifice to pay for the overall development of the music and for artists. With things like music sharing and free downloading and stuff like that, I can't say too much about it, and I always find it weird to talk too much about it in a negative way, because I know from my experience and from working with other producers that a lot of people use kind of free downloaded, software plugins, sample packs, unlicensed samples. So you can't really say too much if people are downloading your music for free. I think in drum and bass in particular, we're quite lucky, as a lot of people that buy it or into it are straight up fans, and they're quite committed to supporting the music they love, their scene. So I think it kind of balances itself out. Yeah, I think dance music in general is pretty mainstream at the moment, and drum and bass crowds they're open to a little bit of diversity. They're into a lot. They've got so much exposure to these other types of music now that they want to hear a few other things. I think as long as it kind of fits in with what you're doing, like for example, I played maybe the odd Tesla tune or maybe a Bodica track, but I think that kind of fits in with what I play, and it kind of sounds like the drum and bass I make anyway, sort of a bit slower. So I personally think it kind of works. I think as long as the DJs are playing stuff that fits in with the drum and bass they're playing there, then I'm definitely all for it. I've got to be honest. I've played a couple of gigs where the non-drum bass track has gone off more than all the other drum and bass tracks I've played. And on the flip side, I've been to places where they just want to hear straight up drum and bass. So I think you got to get the balance and you got to get the timing right. But yeah, I think it can really work to play some other stuff. Yeah, top tips for aspiring producers. I say one thing that I learned. That I should have learned earlier, was that when I first started making drum and bass, I was just listening to drum and bass for inspiration, and I think with that you just kind of end up sounding like stuff that's already been made. The top tip is listen to as much the variety of music as you can, as much and as different as you can, and also sample it, because you're gonna find some little wicked samples in there. And I think one thing I do find with a lot of these new guys making music, no disrespect, but some of the stuff can be a little bit characterless, and I think if you really want to get yourself to stand out, you need to put something in your track that's going to make it stand out. Otherwise, it's going to get looked over. So yeah, sample. Also, when you've got stuff that you're kind of 100% happy with, start networking. I get these emails, and you can just tell someone's written an email and they just sent it out to like 100 labels with check my track out, blah blah, I hope you like it, let me know. If you get out to clubs and you meet someone and you give them a CD or introduce yourself, blah blah, much more likely to listen to it. Also, if you're going to send them emails, you can't get out and meet people, then put their first name on it, or write something like, oh yeah, I really like your track X and X, inspired me, can you check out my tune, blah blah, because if it's more personal to them, they're much more likely to read it. It's just like looking for a job, if you're looking for a job these days in this market, you got to make yourself stand out, really, because everyone's doing the same thing as you. There's so many producers out there at the moment. You got to make yourself stand out. So think outside of the box when you're sending your tracks out. That's my top tip. In the future, basically, I just want to get better at making music. Really, I really enjoy it. Though I know my technical side or technical skills can be better, but I find it, I struggle to find the time to really put the time in to learning new techniques, because I just want to keep making tracks, and I think you really got to sit there and fart around with synths for so long to really learn them. But yeah, so I want to get better at that kind of stuff. Just starting to write an album. Well, thinking about writing an album for Critical. Now the EP's out. That's really exciting. Something I've always wanted to do. Sort of show broad spectrum of what you're about, but also want to try making some other stuff as well, maybe under a different alias. Like I said, I just enjoy making music.